Stress management. You know what? 98% of what we worry about doesn't even come to pass. Some say 97%. Some say 99%. I say, I don't know, 98%. The point is, majority of what you spend the day worrying about doesn't happen, so you wasted precious time worrying about things that aren't worthy of the time and effort. You know, I said this a long time ago. Anybody that knows me or knew me once upon a time, I've often said, you spend a day worrying about tomorrow. You might die today, God forbid. Then what? Then you have wasted your last day worrying about something that never happened in the first place. Yeah, there are things that you gotta consider each day, Gotta show up for life, gotta go to work, gotta pay your bills, gotta be there for your family, if you're in a relationship, school, whatever it is. But, it's just, it's about maintaining reality, I guess. Yes, I'm still vaping. I'm down to 3 cigarettes a day, which is wonderful for me. I never did go back to smoking 2 packs a day, incidentally, which is what I did like 13 years ago. I resumed cigarettes about 2 years ago and never did go back up to 2 packs. Now, when this suicide happened about, 3-4 months ago, I went up almost to 15 cigarettes a day, which I felt. I'm mildly asthmatic, so I have absolutely no business smoking at all. But then again, who really has any business smoking? Point being, though, I digress in, the stress management. I believe in meditation. I do. It's so often if you're a person who has vivid dreams or nightmares or whatever, many of those things you don't control, but many times the last thing that you think about before you go to sleep, you take with you into dreams. So, for me, I try to meditate before I go to sleep because I do suffer nightmares. I always have. Since childhood, vivid, gory, violent, graphic nightmares that, when I wake up, leaving me feeling chilled to the bone. Hair in the back of my neck standing up, at full attention, just scared to death, sometimes paralyzed by the fear of the nightmare. So I do. And I mean, I believe dreams, nightmares are a manifestation of the subconscious. Some people don't believe in that. So it comes down to what you believe in terms of dream analysis. Not always indicative or meaning that, hey, you're a violent person wanting to let out violent tendencies. Not necessarily so. Sometimes it's the other end, fear of being victimized or there's many interpretations. And, I've always been pretty good at dream analysis, interpretation, I guess. Not with 100% accuracy. No, obviously not. Nobody is. I don't care if you hold a PhD in dream analysis. It's not going to be the case. Everything is in theory. Some things are, able to be duplicated, replicated through research methods and things. But, oftentimes stress will manifest into nightmare. Or, abstract dreams that are just totally uncomfortable. So, for me, I meditate. I try to think of one thing, one focal point, whether it's my breathing, my heartbeat, just one thing. And I just try to make that the thing that I am paying attention to while until I doze off. Because I don't want to take that stuff into my sleep. You know? Your sleep is your rest time. And who wants to wake up an hour and a half later from some horrible nightmare, you know? And it takes practice, you know, to meditate, to manage stress, you know, to tell somebody stop worrying. Well, it's easier said than done. You know, when something weighs heavy on the mind, it does. It's easier said than done. And I can always tell, you know, with people that I know that is, especially when they're stressed or bogged down or whatever. You know, they get distant and preoccupied, and it's just, you know, characteristic of anybody really, but with somebody you know that them well enough to be able to tell. And some people are better at hiding things, you know. I've always been a person that I don't show feelings. Feelings of vulnerability, like fear and pain and even anger, not so much. Until I've had my fill, you know, and then it's like, enough, it's on now, you know. So, and I don't mean violently. I just mean like, you know, when I mean it's on, it's like enough, and then I draw the line, and it stops. I can't stop anybody else, change anybody else, but I can certainly change how I react to somebody else, and whether I choose to continue to deal with him or her, you know, thereafter. So, you know, it's just, you know, not placing importance, you know, on myself, thinking, oh, I could change all these things and all these people and all these circumstances, because, you know, that's a rude awakening if you really go through life thinking like that. When you're young, you think like that because, or most do, because we think we're invincible and, you know, can't imagine not being a part of the world and all these things. And but the truth is, the world was here long before us and will be here long after, you know, depending on what you believe in religiously, but regardless, the world was here long before. And, you know, it's not because of our very presence that makes the world go around. We're just a cog in the machine. So to stress out over all these crazy things, just, it's taxing. And it takes from the quality of your day, my day, whomever, you know. So it's food for thought, you know, like to try to control people, places, and things. And, you know, it's how you react to it and how much power you give it to whether or not it's going to break your peace or my peace in a day, you know, take away from the quality of having a good possibility of having a decent quality day. And that is much more often than not a conscious decision to say, all right, I'm done with, you know, worrying about this or obsessing on this, you know, screw the dumb crap.